Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and yes, I get to try a puzzle involving Marty Sears today, which is slightly unusual on the channel, but an absolute joy for me. It's a fascinating grid. We'll get to the rules of this in a moment, and we'll also congratulate Justin Vitanza, a name I don't know. So firstly, don't forget that you can check out all of our apps, which include Line Sudoku, of course, relevant to today. In the links under the video, you can find your way to the apps, as you can to Sven's Sudoku pad and our merchandise, like this awfully fine mug in Cracking the Cryptic colours. And there are many other ways to engage with the channel, specifically Patreon, where we publish a monthly reward every month from the 1st to the 20th. Well, I mean, it stays up there, but that's the competition period. And where there is so much great content, we welcome you all to Patreon, and many people join. Thank you for doing that. Now, the other way to engage with the channel is to leave comments or to try the puzzle. And I encourage you to click the first link under the video to try Chock by Marty and Justin Vitanza. So some sort of collaboration, and I'm going to read you the rules and you're going to marvel at the rules. So normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 will somehow go in every row, column and 3x3 box of the grid. All lines in the grid are n lines, and each n line is composed of one or more non-overlapping sets of adjacent digits, each of which sum to n. Every line has a different n value. Now that's a really weird group of rules about n lines. Each line is composed of one or more non-overlapping sets of digits, each of which sum to n. So I think that you could have a line divided up into segments that had the same value, like a 6 here and a 2, 4 here, and the n would be 6 potentially. Or you could add up the whole line to get the n value. We've seen that sort of segment thing in 10 lines before. Anyway, the real kicker there is every line has a different n value, because that seems close to impossible. Coloured lines, now there's more. Coloured lines, not including the grey ones, each have an additional rule. Pink ones are Renban lines, and digits on a Renban line form a non-repeating consecutive set which can be arranged in any order. The darker blue lines, that's this colour, are even sum lines. All the digits sum up to an even number on a dark blue line. So if you add all the digits, you get an even line. That's not a vast amount of help. Purple are prime lines, and adjacent digits sum to a prime number. So every pair of digits sums to a prime on the purple. Red lines are Anti-Kropki lines. No two digits anywhere on the same red line are consecutive or in a 1-to-2 ratio, but they may repeat. Okay, that's a strange rule. Turquoise, I mean, that's this lighter blue to me. By the way, I've understood why I'm doing this puzzle, not Simon. Anyway, turquoise lines are same difference lines. Each pair of adjacent digits have the same difference. So that pair, the difference between them is the same as the difference between those two. This difference must be determined for each turquoise line. Finally, they've given us a grey perimeter for making notes in, which is unusual, potentially helpful, but I don't particularly know why. And the puzzle is called Chock. Right, my theory as to why I'm doing this puzzle and not Simon is to do with his inability to distinguish between purple and pink. I don't think there is a colourblind friendly version of this puzzle, but Simon would, interestingly, I think those are two of the lines in the puzzle with the most contrast, but for Simon they would be very similar looking. The ones I would have trouble with here I don't know. I mean, the lines aren't vastly different in shading, but I think I can tell what they all are. So there are 5 colours basically. Let's just run through that again. Pink for Renban, dark blue for even sum, purple for the prime ones, red for Anti-Kropki, and turquoise or light blue for same difference. And there's grey, so I suppose there are 6 in fact. Different colours, but grey don't have any special rules except they're part of the N line rules. Okay, well, those are the rules. They do appear with the puzzle if you call them up, but if you call it up, and they're in the description field if you want to keep that open while I'm solving. Well, no, they're obviously on the card above my head. Anyway, let's get cracking. So, I mean, I think we start with this information that every line has a different N value. What is? Yeah, I mean, it's lovely. This is gorgeous. We sometimes tell you about the secret of a Sudoku, but the unacknowledged secret is possibly not a secret, which is how many digits there are in a Sudoku in total. And since it's a 9x9 grid, there are 81. Now, I'm finding that relevant because I can see that every line in this puzzle is 3 cells long. I can also see, and I have spent a few seconds confirming, that every cell in the grid is touched by a line and no cell is touched twice by a line. And therefore, I can divide 3 into 81 and immediately say, fairly immediately say, that there are 27 lines in this puzzle. Now, I have just worked out the maximum N value, and that is 27. N can either be groups of digits on the line or the whole set of digits, and in the case of the whole set of digits, if you had a 999 line, that would have an N of 27. Now, all the N's are different. So we're going to have to use everything from 1, and we'll think about that in a second, to 27. Each of these lines in this puzzle has a different N value, somewhere between 1 and 27. And now I think maybe we'll be using the perimeter to tick them off. Now, how can you possibly have a line with an N of 1? Well, every segment on it adds up to 1. So just as with a 9, you are going to have a line which has every single item on it in a different row, column and box. So one of these lines goes 1, 1, 1 and has an N value of 1, and one of them goes 9, 9, 9 and has an N value of 27. And those lines are amongst these 3 lines, which are the straight lines crossing 3 boxes. So one of those is 1, 1, 1, and one of them is 9, 9, 9. And that much I can tell straight away. And since I don't know where to put them in, maybe that's not all that helpful. We probably then have to consider other extreme values. Oh, no, we have to consider the colours, don't we? Right, let's revise my understanding of the colours. We've got purple here. Well, that cannot be 999 because adjacent digits would add up to 18, which is not a prime number. The blue line would have to add up. That's not purple either, because if we put 999 on that, it would add up to 27. It has to add up to an even number. So it must obey this. Yes, it does. This is a same difference line. Each pair of digits has the same difference. Well, if you put 999 on that, the difference between each pair is 0. So that must be right. Right, which of these is a candidate for 111? Well, actually not this one, because it would add up to 3, and it's got to have an even total. This one, though, the difference, no, the pairs of digits along it have to sum to a prime number. 1 plus 1 equals 2, and although that's even, it is prime. So that must be where the 1s go. And now we've done n equals 1. I'll trace them around the grid, 1 to 9 there, 10 to 18 there, 19 to 27 down here. So we've done the 27 line. I mean, that could have been an n equals 9 line, and that could have been an n equals 3 line, but we know that we have put them in because we needed a 27 line and a 1 line. So there's a start. Now, what I think we have to think about next is the next most extreme lines. So n equals 2, well, that could be 2, 2, 2. Or, well, it could be 2, 1, 1 somewhere. It can't be the whole line adding up to 2 because 3 different digits don't. Or even 3 of the same digits don't. So it must be broken up into segments. This could be 2, 2, 2 because it just has to add up to an even number. So n, that could be how we do 2's. There might be places where we could write 1, 1, 2 though, probably away from these rows and columns which already have their 1's. So yeah, I mean this could be 1, 1, 2 for instance. Although that wouldn't obey the red line. I don't know that I want to find out more about that yet. What about 26? The next number next to 27. That's got to be made up of 2 9's and an 8. That's the only way you're going to get to 26. This is tricky. How do we find where that goes? Again, you need a line that cuts through boxes, that doesn't have 2 of its any 2 of its cells in this area where you can't put another 9. But here, for instance, you could go 8, 9, 9. Not there. Here, you could go 9, 9, 8. Here, you could go 9, 9, 8. I don't know. Okay, which of... Oh no, I'll tell you what we can do. We can do sudoku. Good grief. Even though we've only put in these few digits, 1 and 1 there means there's a 1 here. And this is a Renban line. For some reason I can remember pink. So that must be a 1, 2, 3 set. Now, the n on that is either 6, the sum of the line, or 3, the sum of 2 segments, as long as 3 was on one end. Now, can we do this? No. It's got a 6 on it. It's either 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, or 6, 7, 8. How about the 9's here? They put a 9 somewhere up here, but these are grey lines and we don't know much about how they work. Oh, 1, 2, and 3 can't go on this red line, and nor can 9. This is an Anti-Kropki. So the digits it can contain are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it's not allowed any consecutives. So if that was 3 different digits, it would have to be, well, it would have to be 4, 6, 8 to avoid consecutives, but then it would have 4 and 8, which have a 1 to 2 relationship. And I don't think that is allowed under this Anti-Kropki rule. So I think it did specify in the red line rules that you can have repeats. And I think this one has got to have a repeat. And that repeat is in that cell and in one of these two. But unfortunately, that then frees up what the 2 digits on this line can be. And the n will be the sum of the whole line. Okay, that's strange. I'm not going to remember that about this line when we get back to it. Oh, hang on, 9, 9 there. There's a 9 in one of these cells. Oh, I wish it was on this Renban. And there's a 1 in one of these cells, and I wish that was on this Renban, but I don't know this stuff. Okay, maybe I'm going to have to think about these more extreme case 998 and think about the lines. So I've got a 112 line somewhere. No, it's not necessarily a 112 line. The n equals 2 line could be 222 here, which would be quite helpful with this. But anyway, I've got to fit a 998 line somewhere, and let's see where that can go. So it's got to be on a line that crosses a box border. This is possible, 998. If this was 998, it would break the Anti-Kropki rule. So it can't, the 998 can't be on a red line. Purple here. Adjacent digits on a purple line sum to a prime number. You'd have to put the 2 9s there and they would add up to 18. So that's out. Okay, that's interesting. So that box border crosser is available for 998. I'm going to try and go anti-clockwise. This one is not, because we can't do it on red. On that purple, we can't. Blue, oh, it does add up to, yeah, but hang on, you can't get 2 9s onto this line, and you can't get 2 9s onto this line. We've got down into the territory where we won't fit, so we're not finding any candidates here. We can't put it on red. Red's the box border crosser here. It clearly can't go on that because it's touching so many 9s. It can't go there. 998 can't go here because the 2 9s would both be seen off. Can't go here because none of those can be a 9, and it can't go here. I think it's got to be in this yellow one. Oh, that's really interesting. Right, the reason it can't go here is because the 9 would have to repeat. And one of the 9s can be there, but the other one would have to be here in a column with a 9 in already. So I think we've ruled every other line out, and the 998 has to be here. And that's good because it not only puts it in, let me remember to put in my n equals 26. I've done that one. But now 1 is confined onto this Renban, which must be another 1, 2, 3 Renban. And one of these has an n of 3, and one of them has an n of 6. And I don't really care which is which, because basically I have found out where those two go, and I can tick them off my checklist. I'm probably going to struggle to maintain this checklist. Now, the rest of the cells in box 1 are 4, 5, 6, 7, and this blue line has to have an even sum. So since it must have at least one odd digit, it must have both odd digits, and this one will be even here, 4 or 6. Now, 4 is a slightly difficult digit to place on one of these red Anti-Kropki lines, because 4 is not allowed to be on the line with 2, 3, 5, or 8. I mean, that's probably for the future. But I was thinking about that when I was thinking about 4 repeating on this line. This digit is, in fact, 4, 5, 7, 8. And whichever it is, it repeats here. And then it's going to appear on this line as well. Okay, is it worth thinking about 25? There are 2 ways to do 25, though. It could be 8, 8, 9. No, it couldn't. Yes, it could. That does add up to 25. Or it could be 9, 9, 7. But I wonder if we've just ruled out all the 9, 9, 7 possibilities. Oh no, we haven't. Didn't we rule out some of these because they had the wrong even or odd total? Oh no, the 997 is very different. But anyway, actually, just for a moment, I'm going to colour all the cells that can no longer be 9s in the puzzle. Or that can no longer be new 9s, given where we've got 9s. There aren't many places left for 9s to actually go. Also in those boxes, in that box. Oh, this is weird. Okay, hang on, sorry. I've found out where 9 goes. Sorry, this is just Sudoku. 9 goes there. 9 doesn't go here. 9 is now on this Renban. So that's a 9-8-7 Renban. That digit must be a 7, and that's a 9-8 pair. The n of that is 24. There's no way of splitting it into segments that add up to the same. So there's 1 9 here somewhere. I can just limit where 9s go. There's a 9 in one of those cells on a Anti-Kropki. There's obviously a 9 in one of those two. And then the last 9 in the grid is somewhere over here. So I was looking for a 25, and now I can say definitively there is no 997 line, because I can't connect up any two of these 9s together. And those ones are irrelevant anyway. Oh, I've got a 9 here on a line that I don't know what is going on, but that can't be a 997 line. So there is no 997 line. So the 25 is a 988 line. Now, that cannot be on a red line, because 9 and 8 mustn't appear on an Anti-Kropki. So those and those positions for 9 are ruled out. This one is ruled out because both of these would be 8s, so it's just nonsense. They'd be in the same box column and sharing space with another 8. Even this one is ruled out because 988 won't work here because we've got an 8 in this box already. So 988 is going to have to be here. That must be right. That's huge. So that gets us our 25, n equals 25 line. There is now, that's not an 8. There is an 8 in one of these cells. It's not here because of that 8-9 pair. We've actually placed 8 in box 9 there. It's on a Renban, which is therefore 876. The other cells in the box are 4 and 5. This one is repeating there. Now, that is then going to repeat up here as well. That's difficult for 4. Okay, the cells we have, the digits we have remaining for box 3 are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, by the way, I've just created an 876 line. That is 21 as its n. I mustn't forget, when I create a line, I need to record its n. That must be 21. You can't split it into segments of the same total. So I'm looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up here. Now, I've got to keep, the red line is going to contain 3 separate digits because they're all in the same box. It's actually one of only 2 red lines in the puzzle that have to have 3 separate digits. Now, one of those will come from the pair 2, 3, one of them from the pair 4, 5, and one of them from the pair 6, 7. If you were to put 6 on this line, the other digits, to avoid consecutive digits, would have to be 4, 2. And 4 and 2 can't go on because of the black dot part of the Anti-Kropki rule. So 6 is not on this line. Actually, there's a 6, 7 pair there. So 6 in the box is over here. 7 is now on the line in one of those 2 cells. Again, the 6, 7 pair decides that. Now we need 2 digits from 5, 4, 3, 2. If we were to put 4 on at all, we would have to put 2 on, and that would be from the consecutive point of view, and that would be no good from the 1 to 2 point of view. So 4 is not on this line. 4 is not the repeating digit there. That is a 5 repeating into one of those cells and repeating up here. 4 is on this line. In fact, this is now a 4, 6 pair. We've got 1, 8, 9 in the box, 1, 2, 3 in the column, 5, 7 are this pair over here. And this is a 4, 6 pair. And these digits are 2 and 3. And I don't think I can tell which one does go on the red line. Maybe by adding it up? Well, now you have to be careful. The n on this line could be 7. It doesn't have to be the total of the whole line. It could be 7 or 14 or 15. The n on this line could be 6, except we've used that already, or 12, or 13. It's quite difficult to do that. This pair is a 5-7 pair in this column. Now, this line doesn't, it only has one n possibility, and that's adding them all up, and that is 17. 20, 19, 18, 17. I might actually have to, let's put these in yellow when I've established where they are in the grid as well. So the one, I'm sorry, this is just a bit of extra housekeeping to make sure I don't lose track. The 3 and the 6 were these two Renbans in some order. Actually, that does raise a uniqueness question. I will come back to that if I need to. Now, going from the top, we had 27 here. 26 was, no, it was this one. 25 was this one. 24 was this 987, 21 was this 876, and this must be the 17. So those lines have all been accounted for. It's just going to get tricky because I'm suddenly going to get what this digit is, know what this is, and I might forget to add it up and work out. Well, in fact, what are the possibilities here? There's no chance of a repeat segment. So we're taking the total of 4, 5, 6, 7 and subtracting either 4 or 6. That is 22 minus either 6 or 4. So we've got 16 or 18, one of those two numbers on this blue line. And that obviously, yeah, that's how we knew this was even, because that fulfills this even sum requirement. Now, that's become a 4. Now, 4 is difficult. What is this digit? It's not able to be 7, 9, or 8 by sudoku. It's not allowed to be 2, 3, or 5 because of that 4. So it is 1, 4, or 6. Oh, this one sees a 1. 1, 9, 8, 4 are impossible. 2, 3, 5 are not allowed. This is 6 or 7. That is peculiar. I am desperately trying to remember repeats are allowed, but obviously not in the same row. 6, 4, 7, 8, 9. This is made up of 2 out of 1, 2, 3, and 5. That 7, by the way, is seeing this digit. So that gets me that as a 6. Now this can't be a 6 and is 1 or 4. Now, the n on this line, it's not a segmented one. It's either 11 or 14. And this line, just like this red was all in one box, so is this. We're selecting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we selected 2 on this line, we would have to put 4 and 6 on it to achieve the separation of consecutives, and 2 and 4 would then be on, breaking the rule for 1 to 2 ratio. So 2 is not on this line. 1 is on the line because that's the one from 1, 2. Now, 3 and 6 can't be on the line because they share a black dot. So I think the line is now either 1, 3, 5 or 1, 4, 6. I don't know. Oh, well, what would their ends be? 9 or 11. Yeah, that's not useful. Oh, that 4 by sudoku is going here. And this group is a 2, 3, 6 group. This is just sudoku. Maybe there's more. Look, there's a 2, 3 pair there. So this is 4, 5, 6, or 7. I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in this row. 8's on that line. The grey lines are so unhelpful, I suddenly think. Whereas at first I thought none of these lines were particularly helpful. I'm now seeing the joys of some of them. Now, I haven't been looking for the 2 line for a while. That was partly because it was either 2, 2, 2 on this line or 1, 1, 2 somewhere. But where can ones go? Well, it's not using the 1 in row 1 or the ones in rows 2, 3, 4. It's not using the 1 in column 9 or the 1 in row 9. Well, it's not, but no, this is accounting for the I don't know. If that was a 1 and this was a 4, I wouldn't have accounted for the third 1 in the bottom rows at all, actually. Okay, I have to put, no, I don't have to put 1, 1, 2 somewhere, because this can be 2, 2, 2. Can it still be 2, 2, 2? That would put 2 in the corner. It looks like it can still be 2, 2, 2. Okay, I'm getting myself very confused now. I'm probably thinking about the wrong thing. What about a 4 line? The trouble is a 4 line could be segmented. It could go 4, 4, 4. That's probably still possible here as well. It could go 1, 3, 4, or it could be a 1, 1, 2 sum again. I much prefer the bigger lines. I still need a 23. Now, if that was 3 different digits, it has to be 9, 8, 6. We can't have a double 9 on a line anymore because we're reduced in terms of where the 9s can go. If there was a double in the 23, then it would be 8, 8, 7. No, it could be 7, 7, 9. Oh, that means there are 3 possible ways of doing that, and that's less appealing. It's tricky now. It's getting harder, this. So I might be missing some sudoku. There is a reasonable chance of that. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3. 7, 9, 8, 6. Sorry, I do want to know what to do next, but I find it a bit difficult. That's a grey line. That's not very helpful. I'm even giving a little bit of thought in my mind to, is there even profit in calculating if all the ends in the puzzle were done by adding the whole line, like that one, I could work out, as Gauss did, what the sum of the numbers 1 to 27 are, the triangular number for 27. I could subtract 405, which is the total of all the digits in a puzzle, and work out what the difference is in terms of the differences between ends in segmented lines. I don't want to do that. That's going to be so complicated. I really hope I don't have to do a huge algebra thing like that. Okay, let's think about, what are these blue? Oh, these are same difference lines. So the difference between these digits is either 1, 2, or 4. Oh, that leaves a vast array of possibilities here. That's not very useful. Okay, I'm going to need to make a decision somehow on how to move forward. This 2 line, it's either 1, 1, 2. Maybe I can rule out 1, 1, 2 and make it a 2, 2, 2 line. How could I rule out 1, 1, 2? Where could 1, 1, 2 go as a 2 line? It couldn't involve this row. Yeah, and it's neither of these grey lines. So these are places that I can completely rule out for the 1, 1, 2 line. That's quite a lot of the grid, actually. This line is ruled out because it's already got a 4 or a 6 on it. This line is ruled out. This line is ruled out. And this line. Right. Now, 1, 1, 2, it breaks the Anti-Kropki rule. So the red lines are completely ruled out. That cell is ruled out. Right. That leaves these 4 lines that could be 1, 1, 2, if that was the form in which n equals 2 existed. 1, 1, 2 is not possible on this line because, well, in fact, we've got a 1 in one of those positions and a 1 in one of those. One of these two is a 1. Well, that's going to inform us. Now, for this to be, this cell can't be a 1 because there's a 1 in this box here. And the order of 1, 1, 2 would have to have 1 in the middle. So this line is not 1, 1, 2. Now, these purples, what's the rule? Adjacent digits sum to a prime number. Well, this one can't be 1, 1, 2 because there'd be a repeat in the box. Okay, this one could be, I think, with 1, 1, 2. That's the only line in the puzzle that could be n equals 2 because it was 2, 1, 1. This is the only line in the puzzle that could be 2, 2, 2. That's so strange. So, I don't know. All that seems to be telling me, well, I want to rule out one of them, and I don't know which one. Both actually seem quite likely, but there's either a 2 here or a 2 here in this column, so that's not a 2. That's so unexciting, but on the other hand, it's potentially quite weird. Now, since there's a 2 in one of those cells, that's not a 2. We've got a 2 X-wing going on up here and a 3 X-wing. So 2's in one of those cells, 3's in one of those. And they're not very helpful, but never mind. 1, 1, 2 there. Okay, what else would that do? The purple line rule is fascinating, by the way. I have thought of this, but 1, 1, 2 is legal because you get 1 plus 1 equals 2, and that's prime. 1 plus 2 equals 3, and that's prime. So maybe that's the more appealing place for 1, 1, 2 to go. That's so annoying. So n equals 2 is in one of these 2 lines. I'm colouring them orange, just so I can keep track of that. And I want to rule one out and one in, but I don't know how to. God, that was quite tough though. Do I go to 4 or 5 or 23? Well, what's 4 was going to, there were various possibilities because 4, 4, 4 I didn't rule out. That could be here. Maybe I should think more about this red line and this box. This has either got 3, 5 or 4, 6 on it. If it was 1, 4, 6, that would be a 5. This would be a 2, 3 pair. That would be a 1, 2, 3 triple. Oh, if this was 1, 4, 6, that would have to be a 6. Oh, hang on. If this was 1, 4, 6, that would be a 6. Oh, and this, yeah, because this is not a 1, 4, 6 line, because 6 would put 6 there, and this 1, 4 pair would break that cell. So this is a 1, 3, 5 line. It's the only way it can be made up. Its n is definitely 9, therefore. So that goes yellow. I hope I haven't forgot. I don't think I've got a line in detail in a while. That becomes a definite 2. And now this is not a 2, 2, 2 line. So the 2n is here and is 112. Brilliant. Okay, job done. That's extraordinary. Marty and Justin, you have absolutely done something amazing here. Right, now surely I can finish off ones in the grid or something now. Where are my ones? I need a one, well, not here. In one of, oh no, in one of those, I can't finish off ones in the grid at all. That's not a 2. This isn't a 2. Oh, goodness. Anyway, we found 2. We don't know what this is yet. It's not 222 now. Oh, I'm just having a very quick thought about these Renbans again. One of them is n equals 3. So in one case at least, the number 3 is not in the middle. So those can't both be 3s. Well, they couldn't both be 3s. They would eliminate 3 from this thing. Okay, I'm just having the thought I'd share it with you. Now that 2 that I pencil marked in, that's pointless now. Oh, come on, doesn't this do anything? It stops that being a 2 by Sudoku. I can't, I'm just astonished that my ones aren't more resolved now. This is a 4-6 pair. That's Sudoku as well. Ooh. Interesting. That's not a 5. That's 1 or 3. What have I got going on up here? No, I was going to say one of these is a 2. The only rule with the dark blue lines is they have to add up to an even number. Suddenly that doesn't seem wildly helpful. The grey line here, well, this could still be n equals 5. Ah, it can't go 2, 3, 1, actually. So there is a, oh, I knew there was a 5 on it by Sudoku. 2, 5, 3 would add up to 10, 2, 5, 1 would add up to 8. Bother. One of these is a 4. That's just Sudoku now. One of these is a 1. There's a 3 in one of those 2 cells. Now the rule, well, that's interesting. I'll tell you why that's interesting a bit. I think once you're not using 1s on these purple lines, every pair that sums to a prime number has to have an odd total. So it's always going to be an odd plus an even. And if one of these is definitely 3, these are both odd, and this is definitely even. So it's not 9. It's 2, 6, or 8. And one of these, it's not 6, because one of them would go with 3, and 3 plus 6 is not prime. So that is 2 or 8. And these digits then are odd. They're not 1 or 7. They're from 3, 5, 9. They could be anything from 3, 5, 9. Well, they're not 9. They're a 3, 5 pair. Sorry, I hadn't seen 7, 1 and 9 are gone in the row. So now I know those are odd. They are a 3, 5 pair. And this can be 2, in which case both sums are 5 and 7 and both prime. Or it can be 8, in which case 11 and 13 are both prime. So that's annoying. But this is a 3, 5 pair. That's not a 5. Now I've got a 4, 6 pair in box 1. And therefore I've got a 5, 7 pair. This is hard won stuff, isn't it? 2, 3, and either 5 or 7 in these cells. Now that hasn't got any easier to use. Haven't tried to use these reds yet. And red's been quite profitable. Well, what can these be? We can now rule out 1, 3, 5, 2 and 8. So these are from 4, 6, 7 and 9. And I've got to have an anti-Kropki here. So I can't have 6 and 7 on the line. But I can have a repeat digit in those two cells, as long as it repeats here. How do I use that I can't have 6 and 7 on the line? I don't know. Now, maybe I should go back to thinking about this 4 line that I still need to have, which could be 4, 4, 4. Or it could be a 2, 2, 4. I've never thought of that before, but it is possible. Or it could be 1, 3, 4 in various conformations. Now, 4, 4, 4 would work there. I don't think any of these are okay because the red lines would always... Yeah, the red lines would always have a repeat, have a consecutive or a black dot relationship. I think they're ruled out from being the 4 line. It can't be here. Right, which lines cannot be the 4 line? What colour am I going to use? This one can't because there's a 1 used there. So it can't be a 1, 3, 4. Okay, which lines possibly could be the 4 line? Well, there's that could be 4, 4, 4. This can't. Red lines can't. That can't. That cannot be. Red lines can't. So we're down to these two. Well, this one can't. And this one, if that started with a 4, these can't both be 2, 2 or involve a 1. The only place for the 4 line is here, and it's 4, 4, 4, because this one central digit is at least 4. Wow. Okay, that was probably easier than I was finding it, but also quite hard to do the eliminations for, but we got there. This is a 6 now by Sudoku. And that means these two add up to an even number. I doubt that that's... Oh, look, there's no 4 in these cells now. Ah, and we mustn't put 6 and 7 on this line. That's also not 6. So that is 7 or 9 and doesn't repeat on the line. So... if this wasn't a 4, I thought 4 was the harder digit to put on this line, but if this wasn't a 4, it would be a 6, and this would be a 7-9 pair, and that would have a repeat, that would have a consecutive. So that is a 4. That's so... Oh, I could have just done that by Sudoku. Anyway, got there anyway. Now, this is not a 6-7 pair, so it does have a 9 in. And that rules 9 out of these cells and places a 9 here. And this line adds up to 19 or 20, one of these two. Oh, yeah, I did yellow that, and I did yellow that. Okay, so I haven't discovered any new lines. This is a 1. I've just discovered a new line. That's quite big, but first of all, this is an 11, n equals 11. That goes here. Okay, we're closing in now, 43 minutes in, we're closing in on this puzzle. It places that as a 1, this is a 3-5 pair, that places that as a 1, and this is not a 1. Is that all the ones placed in my funky little grid? Well, nearly. Good thing to check. I get that 1. In fact, I can put 2 and 3 in here. Now that could be n equals 3. I wonder if that means this has to be 3 in the corner. Don't know. But those two Renbans were 3 and 6. Ah, this has become 18 now. N equals 18. That goes here. Good, good. Oh, this one is going to add up to something, but bear in mind it could be N equals 5 with 3, 2, 5. Alternatively, it's 12 or 18. Well, it's not allowed to be 18 anymore. And that's my miscounting. It could be 16. Bother. 6, 4, 1. Is there sudoku to do here? 1, 4, 6. 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. I don't see how I'm doing more sudoku there at the moment. As soon as I get one other digit, then I'm okay. Now, 23. How was I going to do 23? 6, 8, 9, if they're all different. But that can't be on a red line. And it can't be here. The only nines I have left to place in the puzzle are in these places. And I've got this 9 beginning something here. So for the 23 to have a 9 in it, it's got to be this, but we've got this rule, this Anti-Kropki rule. These would have to be the same digit. They could be double 7. That would make 23. If the 23 didn't have a 9 in it, it would have a double 8 and a single 7. Is there anywhere for double 8, 7 to go? It's not allowed on a red line. There is no other line in this grid that could accommodate double 8, 7. So this is the 23 line, and it's 9, 7, 7. Feels like a James Bond moment, 007. There's a 7 in one of those cells. The 23 is done. Wow. You just have to think about the right thing at the right time, and then you're okay. This is a 9, 8 pair. This is not a 1. Now, this line, I still don't know if its N is 5 or 10. That's quite irritating. I mean, I said we were closing in on a finish, but I've still got loads of these lines to identify. I think I might have been a bit premature there. And that line I thought was going to be very helpful. It's absolutely not. This one, not helpful at all. Okay, what digits can go here? 2, 9, 7, 1, 4. This is 3, 5, 6, or 8. That's... Oh, 7 is looking here, though. They're done. 5 and 7. Now, one of these is definitely a 7 now by sudoku, and we knew that one of them was a 9. So they are a 9, 7 pair. Now I can add up this line, and it makes 20. And that gets rid of one of my numbers in the perimeter, 20. 7, 9, 3, 1, 5, 4. So these are from 2, 6, 8. Well, they're definitely going to fulfill the requirement for this blue line. One of them is a 6. Okay, 5 is looking along here. So that's a 3 and that's a 5. And these are not 3s now, and this one's not a 5. So now this one is beginning to take shape. This digit is 3, 5, 6, or 8. If that was an 8, this would have to be another 8 by the Kropki rule. We need a 22 still. How are we doing on 9s? Are there any 9s available for the 22? I think the answer is no. No, they've all been used, including the 9s there and there. Okay, so the 22 is not 3 different digits. So it's got a repeat. Does it have a repeat 8, which would make it 8, 8, 6 somewhere, which makes it quite liable to be this central red line. If it doesn't have a repeat 8, it could have a repeat 7 and be 7, 7, 8. That might be harder to do. We've used the 5 bottom 7s already. There's one there. There's one there. That can't be in a 7, 7, 8, and nor can this. And there's one there that isn't. Right, it's not a 7, 7, 8. The 22 is an 8, 8, 6. And I'm just going to highlight the 8s again. I'm pretty sure that is this box 5 red line. There's an 8 in use over there. There's an 8 in use there. It's not, there's an 8 up here and it's not that one. So it has to be using 8s in boxes 5 and 8, and it must be those two. 8, 8, 6. That is my 22 line. Bingo. Wow, I mean, you just have to be so careful with this. That's not an 8 now. Now, that's 6. These are both from 3, 5, 7. 3, 4, 5. I can place 5 in the central box, and 3, 4 are a pair. So that's a 6. That's 2. That's 3. This is not 6. That is... Okay, this line is not a segmented line. It's either 20 or 14. We've had 20 somewhere. Do I need to check where that was, or can I just rely on what I've done? It was here. So this is 14, so that's a 2. Yellow and a 1, 4 here. There we go. That's done. This is now an 8, and this line is non-segmented and is 16. And that's here. Oh, it's coming together. That can't be a 4 on this Anti-Kropki line. So that's 3, and that's a 4. I don't know what that does. That does sort out this one down here, which can still be 5 or 10, irritatingly. Now, what's this digit? It might be a naked single. It's 2 or 3. But 2, 4, 6 are a triple up here. In fact, that is a naked 2. There we go. So that's a 3. These are a 4, 6 pair. 2, 3, 4, 6. That's not a 3. That's a 5, 7 pair. Oh, that got resolved here. This is an 8 by sudoku. Wow. Now, I'm glad I have done this yellow lining of things. Look at this one. 3, 6, 3. That has to be 12. That's not segmented. So that's another one. This one, well now this can't, well 6, 2, 4 is impossible, because it would either be n equals 6 and that's gone, or n equals 12, so that's a 4, and this is the 10 line, and that was one of my possibilities down here. That's now the 5 line in segments, so 5 and 10 are done. And this is a 6 by sudoku. That's going to unwind a lot of sudoku. And the rest is going to be done by the housekeeping. That's a 9. So this line adds, a grey line, adds up to 15. That's good, because that's a number we still needed. What have I got left to do? 19, 13, 7 and 8. Well, this one can't be 12 anymore, so that's 13. Let's put that in here. 13. This one is now, well, it's not allowed to be 14, so it is 5, 2, 7. That is a 7. That is a segmented line. I'm going to yellow it, even though I don't know which way around the 5, 7 go. And this one, well, this is not segmented. It's either 19, which is allowed, or 21, which is not. So it's 19. That's a 5. That's the 19 line that goes in here. And we need an 8 line Oh no, this doesn't work. Oh, no. What have I done wrong? It nearly works. Oh my goodness me. You see, this looks like it has to be a 15 line to me. But I've ticked off 15. Where did I tick off 15? I mean, I've gone to the trouble of writing 15. I can't have just made that up. And I haven't found an 8 line. Oh, Mark. Which line did I say was 15 earlier? I might just have to, oh, it's here, isn't it? 924. 537. Everything was working beautifully and now it's fallen apart. If I could just put an 8 in this cell, then it would be an 8 line. Wow, I mean, it just doesn't feel like I'm close now. That's really weird. Like, I could actually complete this grid in terms of numbers, but I've got the wrong totals outside the grid. Now, I could have made an N assumption mistake. It's not impossible. It's surprising, because I thought I'd been fairly careful on assessing whether a line could be segmented or not. See, this looks a bit like an 8 line, 3, 8, 5, but it's definitely not. What on earth could I have done wrong there? I'm tempted to put 7 in here and then fill in all the digits, see if I get a tick, because the tick's probably not going to assess the outside, but I don't understand how I can have misanalyzed one of these lines. Or more than one. I must have misanalyzed 2 or 3 of the lines. It's so weird because everything else was working and filling in all the gaps. 14, this is not filling in the 8 gap. It really definitely isn't. And this was the 15. Have I disobeyed the rules on one of the lines? That's not impossible at all. I mean, it would account for how things have gone wrong. Perhaps, well, I don't know. I don't know what would account for how things have gone wrong. The one thing I don't think has gone wrong is in the construction of the puzzle. I think it's me. Wow. It's such a strange stage for it to go wrong, though. Like, things do not get fixed if I make this an 8, because that spoils this line entirely. And it spoils this line entirely. That is not the way to deal with this. So I need that to be a 15, but then I need this to not be a 15. And I don't see, oh look, I've written a 9 here in a cell that can't possibly have a 9. There we go. Oh, I wrote, somehow I had an 8, 9. Okay, well, at least it's explained. It's just user error. How late did that come? Let's just figure out how late that came, because it was very recent that I did that line last. Yeah, so I was here and I'd got bad pencil mark in there. That should have said 9 or 2. and somehow it said 9 or 8. So I'm just going to go back to where we are, correct that digit. That's so confusing. Correct that to a 2. And that line is not 15, that is an 8, and this one is going to be a 15 with a 7 there. Oh my goodness, what a relief. I mean, the relief that floods over you. It's like waking up from a nightmare and finding out it wasn't real. 7, 5, right. 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight. Now I can finish off these digits. And it wouldn't have given me a tick when I pressed the tick button. It would have told me that that one was ridiculous. Wow. What a brilliant puzzle. It doesn't spoil that puzzle, and it's right that it should take an hour. It is a brilliant, brilliant construction. A puzzle chock-a-block with fun. Thank you, Marty and Justin. That's absolutely fascinating. Sorry about glitching on that cell. I just wrote in the wrong digit and couldn't see it then in this busy grid. But that was easily fixed once I eventually found it after 5 minutes of searching. Right, what a relief. Chock-a-block, all done. Thanks for watching and bye for now.